Well, that is... Ooh, it's cranked up. Little Richard. That's a little tutti frutti from Little Richard this morning. And Little Richard passed away May 9th this year, but he had a good life.
I don't see anything.
What you don't see?
I don't see our video. Hello, Heather, Larry. Can you
Morning,
see
peeps.
us?
Morning.
Morning, y'all. We still can't hear the music.
I got Little Richard, and yeah, something about when I add Skype, it just bags the music because it was working last night. Well, we had Little Richard on.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning.
Morning.
It's our peeps. Sorry,
It's our
I didn't mean to
peeps.
call y'all peeps, but
anyhow, but it's our peeps.
it's our peeps. I like our peeps. How is it going, everyone? How's your week going? It's kinda
We're in the
like
middle of a gloomy
freeze
week
it for
here in
me.
Kansas City. Gloomsville.
Okay, I know. Ugh.
Ugh, and your phone's already ringing.
Ugh. I was so busy yesterday.
Oh, really? Fires.
Well, all the adjusters called and said the reason that we didn't have very many fires last week was because of the tornadoes.
Oh.
Heather says it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, just like
Well, good job, Heather. It is a beautiful day.
You know, what's his name? Fred Rogers.
Fred Rogers.
Mr. Rogers.
Mr. Rogers to you.
Good morning, Kim. Good morning, Mark. Good morning, Larry. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, good morning, good
How's
morning.
it going? We're going to have some wonderful discussions today. Alive, alert, awake, and enthusiastic. I was trying to think of what that would stand for. AAA.
AAA.
AAAE.
AA.
So, hey, good morning, David. How you doing, David? Please hold.
Please hold. What does that mean?
He will get the joke. Only he will get the joke. Please hold. Anyhow.
Anyhow.
So, what's going on? So, it's the third day of gloominess out there. It's cold. I want to know what's going on with you Kansas peoples. Like what's going on? Like, you got to change this up. May is supposed to bring May flowers.
April showers bring May flowers. Yeah, what's up?
We did have the April showers and the wind.
Now we're
and
having
the hail.
the May clouds.
And now what?
But it's supposed to be
good morning.
warming
Mugs up. Everybody got your mugs? I got a new mug.
You got a new mug?
Go.
I got my Chiefs.
Yeah. It says, coffee gets me started. Jesus keeps me going. Ha!
Ha! Nice.
Got me a new mug. I went to Walmart. So Walmart was a fun little thing. You have to know which door to go into now. Like, you can't go in just any door now. One door's the in and one door's the out. And you better know which one that is if you're going to park in their parking lot, because, you know, their parking lot's huge.
And the aisles, right? You can't go down the wrong way.
Well,
down the wrong way.
Let me finish my story.
Oh, gee, sorry.
Oh, my goodness.
I blew the punchline.
Oh,
go on.
Always.
Go ahead.
Oh, my gosh.
Move along. Go ahead.
Hello. Good morning, Matt.
Come on, finish the story. Move along.
I'm going to finish this story. Anyway, so you go into Walmart, and it's all taped off, like, you know, police tapes everywhere. So you get, you know, it's like, I feel like a cattle. I feel like they're about to stamp me when I walk through the dang front door
You're
thing.
a cattle. Bummer.
Stamp. Get a little stamp. Anyway.
Branding.
So
you're branded.
I had to go there to get a prescription. And, you know, what's good about Walmart is they already had plexiglass and all that stuff because they don't want irate people already. But the thing is I had to get some groceries. Oh, what do you mean? Kim says it may rain or snow in Virginia. Oh, my Lord. Hi, Dennis.
Yeah, the East
Thanks
Coast is
for
getting it, too.
The East Coast.
Everybody's getting it, although it's supposed to be warm
in the
now.
house.
It's supposed to be 70 here today. Isn't it 70? Tomorrow,
I don't know,
maybe?
But So in my story, it just goes, I went down the wrong way.
Story.
I felt like a criminal. Plus I had my mask half on. Oh my God.
Well, you really were a criminal.
I was a criminal that day.
Not only were you going down the wrong way, which you were going to infect people, you had half mask. Wow, what's going on?
Half mask, because I couldn't breathe.
I know.
Okay?
I know.
I just couldn't.
I know.
I could not breathe. And my things were fogging up, and I couldn't see the groceries.
Those things will get you in trouble.
These dang glasses. I think I'm going to get contacts because of it. But anyway, hot iron. What's hot iron about? Wally World, yeah. Yeah, it's not my favorite thing to go to Walmart. I usually go to Target.
Target. I told my daughter yesterday, I only go to Hen or Hole when I shop. Hen or Hole.
What's Hen or Hole?
Hen or Hole.
What is that?
That's either Hen House or Whole Foods. Those are my only two shopping places.
Oh my goodness.
And I know it's expensive, but there's good social distancing there. And everyone is being responsible, wearing their masks. So Hen or Hole for me.
Oh.
What's up, Bill?
So, hey, good morning, Mark McGinnis. I like that
Heather
name.
knew that.
He's got a good Irish name. He's not a Mac, he's a Mick, which means he's Irish.
He's Irish.
I was being funny. It's been a crazy May. Oh, I thought you were serious, Kim, because that's what I heard. So, anyway, so today our topic is, do you have like a meme or a something to fly up there?
I don't.
Oh my gosh!
I am slacking. I know. I was telling Sandy yesterday, we're gonna have to have a theme. We're gonna have a theme today, and then I didn't even prepare. Well, I prepared, but I don't have a meme. I mean, I have a meme of the day, but it's not necessarily this one. But
well, okay. So interesting enough. So Scott says,
I can put a triangle.
Hey, we're gonna do a theme tomorrow. Well, he doesn't say.
Yeah, I didn't dictate. I mean, I have no authority here for sure.
Uh-huh.
I said, what you think? What y'all think about this? That's what I would say.
He knows. He knows that I'm a Taurus of the bull. Anyway, so as you know, I like my little devotional. I'm gonna online order some Kuroshis today myself. I've decided. So today's May 13th. And so our topic today is anger and annoyance.
Frustration.
Or both of those, frustration, any of those things. And today's devotion goes along with that. So it always starts with a quote, then it kind of starts with a little summary discussion, and then it has an intention. So just letting you know when I read this, how this flows. Okay, so here's the quote by Katharine Hepburn. To keep your character intact, you cannot stoop to filthy acts. It makes it easier to stoop the next time.
Oh, yeah.
She was funny.
So
this is the discussion. Good habits are as easily formed as bad ones. It's quite likely that most of our daily activities are routine, with little need for forethought. We make our necessary emotions every day, and if we've behaved towards others in disrespectful ways on many occasions, we may thoughtlessly repeat those acts today. Yet we should be grateful that we are in full control of all actions we choose to take. No one else has power over our behavior. No one else can push us into actions for which we'll feel shame or remorse. Responsibility for who we are, in all respects, is our birthright. Perhaps we don't always rejoice over this fact, and yet it is the one absolute that guarantees we each have the power to become who we wish to become. And here's the intention. I'm creating behavior patterns today. Will they make me proud? So I was like,
perfect.
that is like, couldn't be more perfect, right?
The universe lines up. Aligns.
I love it. And on top of that, if you don't mind, Scott, I'm just going to springboard.
Pivot.
Is that a corporate term? I'm going to
You're trying to not say pivot.
I've been reading this other book called Switch on Your Brain by Dr. Carolyn Leaf. And she talks about neuroplasticity.
Oh, my
Do you know
favorite
what that
word.
is?
That's my favorite word.
Is it?
Yes, one of them.
Yes, yes. So neuroplasticity, and I think you guys should Google it, look it up. What happens. And I know that Scott knows a lot about it because I've heard him actually talk about it on here about how it wires your brain. Like you can wire your brain in positive or negative ways. You can actually groove out places in your brain that wires it in a positive or negative way. So in this book, on page number 63, she tells us how to try to fix it. And if any of you are interested, I'm not going to read it, but I'm just telling you that neuroplasticity can actually help you. And in this book, she talks about how to fix it. So this is like one of my tools in my toolbox. Okay.
Love it.
So information is power. And I just want to tell you that we can, thinking positive thoughts, during anger. But I also, I have a third thing. I also looked up an article, and I just posted it on my Sandy Archer Spiritual Health page. And it's about 2 things to do when you're angry. When you get angry and you don't know how to calm down, there are definitely 2 things that you can do. And I encourage you to go read that article that I put on my page. Again, I'm not going to read it all here verbatim because I really want to, it's one of those things that you have to read. It's not something that somebody can just tell you. However, I totally agree with some of the things that it says in that article and definitely in here. And it's not that I'm pushing you to go buy someone's book, but those are the things that help me. I find out what resonates with me. If you're not a reader, go Google it on YouTube. Seriously. If you're not a reader and you don't have Audible books or whatever, go read it. Oh, that's nice, Jeff. Okay. So I'm just looking at what Heather's saying. And she's right. You are in control, and exactly what the devotion said today. You get to choose today how it happens. Sometimes we need help with that, though. We don't understand why we're angry. Sometimes there's triggers that we're not understanding why we're not getting over it, and that is the times that I recommend that you go to somebody professional to go help you to work through that. There's so many different therapies out there right now. There's some, you sometimes are acting in anger because of a trauma that you had, right? And you just don't know that that's the root of it. And that's your self-defense mechanism. So there is a reason that you're acting out in anger. And it's just self-preservation. You're coming at it like that. I mean, kind of like punch someone. So, yeah. So Jeff is a friend of mine, and him and I share one thing in common, and it's called road rage.
Oh my. Yeah. That's a good one.
Right, Jeff? Like in the car, I do get, I used to cuss in the car. I used to. And then we actually call them like names. And then I changed it to, okay, person. So like sometimes in the car, if I'm upset and they like pulled out in front of me or something, I call them person. Instead of by a name or a negative name, I actually just like said, okay, person, would you decide what lane you're going to be in? So, there's just different ways to handle it. Oh, that was our secret. I'm sorry, Jeff. I outed you. I apologize. Oh God.
I'm gonna really out him. I'm gonna really out her now. There we go.
No, don't put that. Anyway, sorry, Jeff.
Road rage. Yeah, it's a real thing.
It's a real thing. Do you deal with that, Scott?
No. Nope, I don't. I realized fairly early on, well, no, in my adulthood, that was not going to get me anywhere. In fact, I don't tolerate road rage in my car. I do not tolerate road rage in my car. Because it just stresses me out, and I'm like, no. But yeah, no, but it affects a lot of people. But I I just did. I just shut it off one day. I just said, you know what? There's nothing I can do, and it's only going to make me stressed out more. So I just stopped doing it, and I literally did. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm pulling back the layers. I'm just starting with that one. So like right now, all of us are going through kind of an aggravated, annoying anger thing, correct? Like right now.
We're in the third month, basically, of this thing. We're in the middle of it.
And there's so many differing opinions right now. I saw it play out on I'm on a group, messaging group thing. And I saw it play out the other day. And I was like, oh, this is terrible, because it's people that we like and that usually get along, and then when you see that, if you see that work out, it's horrible, because somebody, eventually gets mad and leaves or whatever. It's really when somebody leaves a Facebook group, it's like slamming the door, right? It's like I don't like what you said. Bye. Bam. You slam the door. So anytime somebody says, well, I'm out, or whatever, and then so-and-so left the group, you're like, oh, they just slammed the door. Okay. So that's right. Anger. That's annoyance. And it's a shame that they weren't able to talk that out. And absolutely by text on a message thing. That is not the right communication. Like, you cannot communicate well in a message group. It just doesn't ever translate the way that you meant it. And that's the thing. It's like and I'm careful in being all these groups, and I'm careful in adding anything in the group. So I tried to lighten it up after that, because I think I put out, that I was a criminal for going down the wrong way at the lane at Walmart. So it's like I'm one of those. I wanted to fix it, I'm a fixer. Like I sat back and went, oh, I want to fix that, but I can't. It's not my group, first of all. Secondly, people are allowed their opinions. Believe it or not, people are allowed their opinions. And I think that when people are very passionate about their own opinions, they're just trying to translate how they feel. And I think that other people take it as that's an opportunity for them to change their mind into what they think. And I don't think that that's fair. I think it's good to have a good old discussion, because sometimes I'm stuck on an opinion, but sometimes somebody else can sway me to their side if they make me look at it in a different way, more abstract. And so that's the thing, is we all have our own opinion. And especially right now, like this week is huge, because things are opening up. Today, it's huge. Anyway,
it's huge.
It's huge. Like today, the mall is opening up. My son works at the mall. I asked him, I said, are you working today? And he said, no, not till Saturday, because they didn't give us enough time to prepare. They just boom, open. Because they thought they were in one of the last phases or whatever. They had a misunderstanding about what phase they were in as well. And then all of a sudden, boom, everybody, got them right. Okay, bye, wow. Jeff. Have a good day.
That's interesting that happened. I mean,
yeah.
But it's just more of the miscommunication.
What happened with the communication? Right. So communication is key to anything, including anger and aggravation. Sometimes we don't have all the pieces to a story and we get angry, right? So really, just stepping back to understand what's going on. The only time I can actually say that I'm actually ever angry is when the fast food restaurant makes food wrong.
Right.
I've done that. And another time, I actually a guy was he had done some work for my dad, and he wanted to give him a quote on removing all the leaves. Well, the price was ridiculous, like ridiculous. He wanted like $600 to get rid of leaves. Well, obviously, my dad found somebody cheaper, right? Well, this is his regular landscape dude. So, do you know what this guy does? He comes over to trim the bushes. The regular guy comes over. All the leaves are gone. The landscape guy comes over to trim the bushes, and to get rid of the trimmings, he uses a leaf blower and blows out all the leaves that were underneath the bushes onto the lawn. Like in retribution for not using him to remove the leaves, right? And I was ticked because, one, that's taking advantage of somebody. Two, I was already mad at his quote, and then two, then he went and did that. And so I came out, I'll never forget, I had these red boots on, these pointy red boots. Like, I was wearing black and red, like I almost probably looked like a witch. But anyway, I walked out there and I said, "Why are you blowing all of these leaves onto the lawn?" And he said, "Well, we're blowing out the trimmings from under the tree we just did." And I said, "Yeah, but we just got all the leaves off of the lawn. You saw that there were no leaves, and you just blew them back on there." And he goes, "Do you want me to put them back?" And I said, "Yes." And I was ticked, and I spun around in those boots and got in my car, and I had to make a dramatic exit. It was. I was like,
wow.
Oh my gosh. I mean, it was horrible. I mean, that was the last time that I was actually probably angry like that at someone. But I mean, for the guy to go, "Do you want me to put him back?" I was like, "Yeah."
Yeah, blow him back,
yeah.
Sucker.
Yeah, put him back.
That's funny.
So,
crazy wild
I was
anger.
Angry. I was so angry about that, and I called my dad. "Dad, you're not gonna believe blah blah blah," and he was like, "It's okay, Sandy, it's okay." And then, that's kind of not his normal. I was shocked that he was so calm about it.
Probably because he was so shocked that you were so mad. It's like he's like freaked him out. He's like, "Whoa." That reminds me of it. Just makes me think of how everyone is so different because people's buttons get pushed for all sorts of different reasons, and now we know leaves push your button, and so that's interesting. But everybody gets mad at different things. It's like, I don't know. I'm not sure that leaf thing would have got me that riled up, but hey, don't mess with your leaves.
See, you just don't know.
You don't know.
So what was the underlying issue? Okay, so let's break that down.
Okay.
I know what the underlying issue was. That I felt like the guy was doing that as revenge for not using him.
Yeah, you got taken advantage of. He
was getting taken advantage of. And that pissed me off.
And, well, yeah. And you were getting taken advantage of, and yeah, it's just like it's human nature to feel like equal. Like we should all be equal. Like don't treat anyone else bad for whatever reason. And there's the natural tendency for people to do that, especially if it happens to you.
Yeah.
They've and there's a whole nother rabbit hole we won't go down to about the ego. Everyone's ego is involved in anger at some point.
Yes.
And that's a whole nother discussion. But I found an interesting article in Psychology Today about the phases of a crisis. And they're actually similar to the phases of grief. But according to this article, it was saying that in the immediate aftermath of a crisis, people will often focus on the heroic efforts that are being made to cope with the crisis. So if you think back to this, we started celebrating all the health care workers. And
right.
we're cheering people on our balconies. And that made us feel kind of good, like there's some heroes out there, and then there's this kind of honeymoon period after you go through that, and that's when people are starting to feel comforted by feeling like they're part of the community, and they're helping to solve the problem, And I remember it seemed like it was the second month, maybe the third week, maybe the second month into this, people started talking about, well, let's make masks, and everybody was going to make masks and help out. And then we started hearing about people talking about, hey, go check on your neighbors, see how they're doing, ask people how they're doing. And we started hearing about people feeding their neighbors and so on, and singing on balconies, and people putting bears in the windows for the kids. I mean, all these little things that we're all trying to jump on. And this is that honeymoon period where we're trying to find some comfort, and that provides comfort for us. Unfortunately, then what comes is the delusionment period, anger. And I think we're in that now. And this is when people start to realize the extent of what they've lost and how long it's going to take to return to normal.
Yeah.
And we start feeling overwhelmed and discouraged. And this is the time where the anger and frustration starts to fit in. And Sandy and I have been talking about this for a week or so, about this bubbling up, and we can kind of feel it in just our little worlds that we deal with. And so I noticed that I was really whacked out Monday. I just had a weird day Monday. If you joined the show, I was like going on rants left and right, and it was really a little bit strange for me.
It was like, who are you?
But I just was feeling this, and it was the weather, and it was everything. But I was just, and for me, I'm tired of staying in all the time. I'm tired of going to the grocery store and wearing a mask and having to go down the right aisle and being vilified if you don't go down the right aisle, and wiping down my groceries. I'm tired of wiping down my groceries when I come home, and I'm tired of not seeing my friends, and I'm tired of not being able to listen to live music or go out and have a nice dinner. I'm just tired of that. And all that tiredness is leading me to this frustration. And how about you guys out there? Are you guys feeling any of this frustration now? Are you feeling it bubble up, or are you seeing it in your friends? I'd be curious to hear some of your comments on that.
Yeah, most definitely. Well, so it was funny that you got your article from Psychology Today. I did as well. And there are the two techniques is to relax and reassess. So first is to relax. Well, when you're in an angry spot and you're like in the moment, it's fight or flight, right? And so like I was just telling you that story because, I was fighting, and then, I did both, instead of relaxing and calming myself down, I did both of those. At that poor guy, not the poor guy because he was trying to take advantage of my dad, but, still, and let's see, I can't read all of Heather's
let's put
comments.
it up there. We'll all read it, because I think that's some good stuff. So she says you got a ton of things to be angry about, but she refuses to sit in the negative energy. Get up every morning, thank God that I'm still here, and I won't let the pandemic take my joy. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I've actually learned so much about myself on this and how I can redirect my brain thoughts. Well, that's awesome, Heather. Actually, one of the things I wanted to talk about a little bit as we sort of unpack this is how do we deal with it? Right. And so you were kind of talking about that a minute ago, but how did you calm down and reassess, or did you at all at that time in the car? You got in your car, you spun on your boots, you got in your car.
Yes.
Were you aware of it at that point, or did you just huff off to work?
And I was going to work. So I got to work and I had to tell my story in a passionate direction and way. And once I was like, oh yeah, I really acted, I looked back and I went, wow, I really acted out. And I had to do the introspection of going, why did I have such a trigger? I mean, it wasn't an injustice. It was, okay. So we could say that it's an injustice. So when we feel like something is a true injustice, we give ourselves the rights to be angry, right? We give ourselves that right. We say, I'm allowed to be angry right now because this is an injustice. And so, how do you come out of that? Well, it doesn't help you to be angry about it.
Right.
What could I do about it?
Whether it's an injustice or not, it doesn't help you. Yep.
It doesn't help me. And so I just need to reframe and go, well, what can I do about this? There was nothing I could do about it. I mean, honestly, there wasn't anything I could do except for, I yelled at the guy and told my dad he probably should fire him, all that. That's all I could think of.
That's the stages of that grief and denial. But eventually you have to get to the point where you, what you can do about it is be aware of how it affects you, right?
Yeah.
And to stop
we have lots of comments now, so if we can address some of them, I would love to. So relax is the first thing. Maybe you can't do anything about it, so first thing is to relax, and try to get yourself in a calm state. I think that's the first thing. You have to decide, can you change it? That's the first thing. Can you change it? And if you can't, it's kind of out of your control at that point, right? So the only thing you can control now is you and here, and try to just resign yourself to this is something I can't change. So now I need to just deal with it, and dealing with it, let yourself go through all the stages of the emotions of that, and then after that, do the relax. Try to get yourself in a relaxed place. That's really all you can do in your control.
Well,
right?
What I like about that is that, and this is interesting because Paul says that he can't fault himself. Don't fault yourself, and I would agree. And you mentioned it too, Sandy. It's that when you get angry, it's just an emotion. It's a natural human emotion. It's actually good, right? Without anger, it protects us. Anger is a natural human emotion. But if it goes unchecked, it can cause lots of internal problems for you and for people in your environment. And we know that there are people
physical.
We know people that have some serious anger issues, and they need to see a professional about that, because anger is probably one of the most destructive human emotions that we can have. It's so destructive, but everybody has it, right? And so you have to have a little bit of grace with yourself and say it is normal. But make sure that we check it. Have
grace for yourself.
Because it is going to affect you in lots of negative ways. It's going to give you all sorts of health issues, from headaches to digestive issues to, heart rate, blood pressure. It's really, really bad for health in chronic anger states. And so why we're talking about this is because we're in this environment now that is constantly out there with the uncertainty and the fear and the anxiety and the unknown. So
changing daily.
So you could have this extra stimulus every day you wake up. You could feel a little bit anxious, and little things could start to anger you. And then pretty soon you're in this anger syndrome where you don't even know. What did Kim say here? Kim says that she's tired of tried understanding why people are where they are. I can't fix it. It makes me crazy. I wish my thoughts were better. Well, again, that's a normal thing to try to understand. And in fact, I was going to say is one of the things that we can do when we get angry, because some anger is directed out at other people. Well, most of the time it is, I guess, directed towards other people and what they're doing. And part of it is to try to understand, put yourself in their shoes. Everybody is dealing with the situations that they're trying to deal with. Everybody's reacting in their own way, depending on what they're going through. And you may not know exactly what they're going through. They may be going through horrible situations, and they're reacting out, and then that's making you mad. But have some empathy and look into their shoes a little bit, because
maybe.
we're all. Well, I would say that it can't hurt to try, right? It can't hurt to try.
That's right.
There's evil out there, and there are people that are just chronically mad, and and so you've got to look at that. But either way,
how would you deal with a person like that if they're just destructive person?
So I would say the first thing is to know that by you being angry at them, you're hurting yourself. Absolutely. It's like forgiveness. You always say that if you can't forgive people, you're actually you're actually hurting yourself more than
right.
you
You're
them.
like drinking poison, right?
Anger is really the same way. If when you get angry at other people, and there's a lot of it out there, especially with people, people aren't following the rules and people aren't social distancing, and a lot of us sometimes we're getting really upset about that. It's like, why aren't people following the rules? Well, they have their situation. Maybe they're out of a job. Maybe they are really mad about the economy. Maybe they have no choice but to get out there. Obviously, sometimes you wish people could social distance more, and even if they have to get out there, but you have to kind of look in other people's shoes. That's the first thing. And that it just gives you another perspective. Understand that they're just trying to live in their world, just like you're trying to live in your world. Maybe they are being disrespectful, but again, if you don't understand that how that's affecting you, then you're going to be the one suffering. I personally, and this isn't always good, I personally just move away. It's like
disengage
because I just know for myself that if I engage in that, then I'm going to be hurting myself.
Right.
So the only time I sort of have a principle, and I learned this later in my adult life, because I used to think that if I didn't get in people's face, if I felt like they were either disrespecting me or disrespecting a situation, then I was not a man. And I realized that again, who cares about the perception of what's happening if I get in somebody's face or not? How does it affect me? It's my life. And so if I choose to deal with a situation and say, look, you have a nice day, I'll see you later or whatever, instead of trying to stand up and be all macho and everything, because it affects me. Now if somebody is threatening me or threatening my loved one, well then it's a whole different thing. At that point you have every right to do what you need to do, but that's a different topic really.
Yeah.
Sometimes though I let it boil over, and it's like sometimes I'll actually avoid people because their energy or something, their vibe is bringing me down, and sometimes that's not good too. I'm kind of not addressing a situation. Sometimes I need to do that, and I've learned to not push that under the table. In fact, I've learned, and I think this is a part of this anger too, is don't push anything under the table.
Right.
People say, well, I don't want anger to get me down, and I don't want this negative situation, and I agree. But there is a reason that you're angry, and the first thing to do is to assess it and look at it a little bit. Why am I angry? What's going on with me? Why?
Right.
You might look and see, you know what? Maybe I haven't been eating as well, or maybe I've been drinking too much, or whatever, and I'm just on edge, or maybe I haven't been sleeping too well, or maybe my loved one or something's going on with them, so I'm more nervous. That can, some of this times that anger is you're reacting to other parts of your life. So don't push it away, immediately. Look at it and say, what am I angry at? And then when you decide it's probably another person, it's somebody's acting away, or I felt disrespected in some way, that's fine. It's just know that chronic anger isn't going to help us. And unfortunately, every day we're waking up to this, and we're not sure what's going to happen or how long it's going to be there. So it's going to bubble up. So that's why we wanted to bring it up today. Is in a little bit more of a serious fashion, is that this isn't going away, guys, and we know that. And in fact, probably as we get out there a little bit more, we're going to hit a spike here. And in a few weeks, I think we're going to have to, again, be dealing with, now what do we do? Because now we've tried it, and it's spiked, and now what do we do? And I think that we have to be prepared for that. And so frustration, and I use the word annoyance and frustration also with anger, because anger is perceived as a certain thing, but it's just annoyance too, and frustration. If you let this stuff build, it's not healthy for us. We got some comments here. What do we got?
Yeah. So Paul, have a good day. He's going to work.
See you, Paul. Thanks for joining.
So here's the deal. I think we're still in this uncertainty, and again, I always come back to the same thing. You have to figure out that, you control things that are within your own control, and that's inside, introspectively. You cannot control the things that are happening, when they're going to happen, how they're going to happen, and judging others and their behaviors is definitely not healthy for you, because, we're all just trying to make it out here, right? So So, judging someone else, it just is not a good, part of your healthiness. Judging yourself and trying to figure out, what is going on in here. I was just reading in this article that I posted on my spiritual health page about the anger. If somebody else is the one causing your anger and really pushing your buttons, or whatever they're doing, you have to just remember that it is them. It's their problem, and it's not yours, and it affects you. Okay, don't get me wrong; these things affect you and their behavior, but you really just have to say, okay, I've just got to be who I am. I've got to be living authentically in myself, and I have to be pulling in those positive places that I know are positive for me. Whether that be God, whether that be, your positive energy, whether you go into prayer, whether you go into meditation, just do some things that are healthy for you and yourself. That is the key. And if there's forgiveness issues, obviously, address those with yourself. Forgive them, or ask for forgiveness, either or, because sometimes those are the roots. Anger and annoyance is huge. And like right now, we can be angry with our officials. We can be angry, because of our opinions. We can be angry with each other, apparently, over our opinions. And guess what? They're allowed their opinion. You're allowed your opinion. And just don't live there. Say, okay,
Yeah.
live and let live, I
Don't
guess
live
you'd
there.
say.
That's the
live
thing.
and let live. Because we all are dealing with this in our own circumstances, in our own ways. And I'm not going to judge you if you don't wear a mask at the grocery store. I hope you don't judge me for having a half mask because I can't see, I'm like, I can't see the freezer section, I mean, it was one of those deals where I was just like, okay, I can't see, but nobody was around me, so I wasn't inhaling their droplets, I guess you'd say. So I think I was okay, but don't judge me if you look down the aisle and I have a half mask because my glasses are fogged up. You don't know my situation, right?
You don't know me.
You don't know my situation.
Check this out. This is interesting, Kim. Kim's trying to figure out what happened in her life recently is a blessing, or is she fooling herself to make it easier for me? Kim, the interesting thing about that is that it doesn't. I think it doesn't really matter, whether you're trying to make it easier on you or not. It is what it is, and it's going to. The reality of whatever that situation is gonna fall on you. It's how are you going to accept it, or how are you going to bring it into your life? I think that sometimes people say that law of attraction or thinking positive thoughts is just fooling yourself. And my take on that is that would you rather have negative thoughts and live that moment or those life from that perspective of negative or anger, or would you rather live that moment in joy or acceptance?
Right.
And who cares really on the other side of it? And again, unless you're harming someone or hurting someone, I would say that the thoughts of fooling yourself are only probably hurting you. Because we know from science that when you're thinking positive thoughts and happy thoughts, and we know that there's a frequency to all these thoughts. There really are. They can measure the frequency, right? Higher frequencies are healthy for your body. I mean, again, when you break it down to the science, they're higher frequencies. They are really good for the body. Lower frequencies like anger and sadness are, if you stay in those lower frequencies, they'd actually harm the body. Yes. So again, it's a little bit of both, though. I always say, don't run away, don't push away negative thoughts, and just push it away and not even think about it, because you need to understand what that means, because it always means something. but to don't stay there. Same with anger. Same with
Don't
any
stay
kind
there.
of any kind of these negative vibration thoughts.
Yeah.
It's that they're telling you something, learn from it, and then move on and try to stay into that positive energy, because that's where you can create from. You can't create, and I mean create in the best, most amazing possible word. That's where life is really juicy. When we're creating love, when we're creating art, when we're creating camaraderie, we're creating. That's creation, creating our new life. And where we think at, where we put our attention, is where our energy is going to go. I don't know if that went off. I went off a little bit on the side of that, but it is related to anger, because these are all anger's a negative emotion and negative thought. So, and you know, so it's about you're not fooling yourself or whatever. It's what is going to keep you in that positive energy, as long as you take time to learn the lesson. And that's I always have to preface it by that, because people push down negative thoughts without taking the lesson. That's not good either.
Yeah. Kim says, I do. I know she's a happy person. And sometimes situations that are out of your control are making you upset and angry. But like he's saying, you just can't stay there. You're just going to have some acceptance
and learn from it too. You know, and
other people. I mean, it's other people's decisions and choices.
Pray, meditate on it, because it's there for a reason. And you do need to learn from it, but you can always find a positive spin to it. And if you can't, well, that means you need to do something. That means you need to make a decision, act on it, do something, because you always want to get to that positive end of it. But if you have to go through a learning experience, or go through, I talk about it all the time in the hero's journey, it's about facing your fears. We're all afraid of different things. You can't get to the positive side sometimes until you walk through that fear, which is hard. But if you know that if you persevere, you'll get to that positive side.
Yeah.
One day at a time.
I got angry yesterday.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. And Donna, I don't know if she's still on here. She was on here earlier. My sister was talking to somebody on the phone, and they said, "Hey, what's your sister doing?" She goes, "Oh, she's in there having a temper tantrum." And so I was having a temper tantrum, and it was at the IRS. So.
Well, that'll do it to anybody practically.
I put my information in, and it keeps saying it can't verify my information. And then I would put the right information in, and it still says that they can't verify. And then it locked me out. I was a little angry.
Yeah.
I was just a little angry.
That could do it.
Just a little bit angry. And I actually did. I banged on the table. Isn't that terrible?
No, but it made you feel good. It's like you got it out. You know, that's kind of the thing. It's like sometimes you just got to get it out.
Yeah, I couldn't believe how angry I was about it. But I got it out, and then I laughed. Like I'm the angry laugher. Do you know what I'm talking about? I'm the
angry laugher.
Angry laugher. Somebody that is angry and then quickly realizes that they shouldn't have acted out in temper tantrum like that, and then laugh at themselves. Like, I just totally laugh at myself.
Well,
I'm like, oh my God, you just acted like a total idiot.
Well, see, that's the kind of thing like road rage for me, you know, especially if it's just, I mean, if somebody cuts you off, that's one thing. But if it's just traffic and it's long and it, you know, whatever, and you're so frustrated, and you just have to kind of laugh at yourself and just say, really, there's nothing that I can do, or really anybody around me can do about this traffic. I mean, something happened way up ahead that causing all this traffic.
There are actual things that I believe are healthy angry, as far as being upset, being frustrated and upset about, you know, maybe something didn't get delivered on time, which, you know, you should always make allowances. So I think that's where we have to set ourselves up, is making allowances for things not to kind of work out in the timetable that we have set. So I think we get caught in timetables. We get caught in that. So I need this by this time, but if it doesn't come, then what's my plan B? You know? So I think that if we you know, strategically think about things in that way of like, what is my ABC plan? You know, always making allowances for something not to work out not thinking that it's not going to work out. That's a different whole other thing. But
Right.
but what will you do if this delivery doesn't get on time?
Right.
What will you do? What's your plan B?
Right.
So, I mean, I think always thinking in that way and thinking ahead and not being, I'm a pretty, bye Kim, I'm a pretty good spontaneous person, right? And I do things on the fly and in a whim, and I'm whimsical that way. But if things don't work out, it doesn't totally fluster me sometimes. Sometimes I'm just like, okay.
Well, I just kind of blame myself, and I mean, I don't, not in a negative, harsh way. I just say, it's like, if I let's say I need to get a package to somebody by a certain time and it didn't or whatever, I just, it's like, oh well, that's on me. I probably should have done it a day earlier, or whatever.
Yeah.
And yeah, because. But I do it in a lighthearted way, kind of like you are. It's like, it's like it's on me. I'll deal with that. It's okay.
Right. I mean, I just really think that I think we take some things too seriously sometimes, and if you're a person that takes things too seriously, then you better have all those plans in place, like have A, B, C, D, E plans.
Right.
Whatever that takes. I mean, because mitigate your risks, okay?
Yeah, no, I mean,
mitigate risks.
Another good corporate.
Talking corporate again.
I think the other thing to remember, everyone should remember that anytime you're in this zone of anger, frustration, annoyance, it ultimately it's only hurting you. It's going to hurt you if you stay there. It's normal to be there. It's normal to have these thoughts and tendencies. Very normal. Everyone should understand. Don't beat yourself up. But just know, if you stay there or you continually do this and just you're not aware, you're not present, you're not aware that you're doing it, and you are hurting yourself. You're probably hurting the people around you too, because that's a lot of negative energy being floated out there if it's a constant thing. And again, most of us here aren't probably dealing with this on a constant level. But the reason we wanted to bring it up was we're in a situation now that is going to foster and fuel this more than maybe any other time. And it's not going away. It's going to be there every day in different ways, right? And so this is going to come up a little bit more and a little bit more. So this is why we're kind of harping on this a little bit.
Yeah.
Because we're moving into that phase now where it's like, wow, okay, this is going to be a lot longer than we thought. And really, we still don't have really any good answers. We still don't have any really good answers, which is still amazing to me. But and it's frustrating, and there's just no getting around it. But we've got to take care of ourselves.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. I mean, we didn't ask, for the country to be shut down. We didn't, this came as a total surprise. So, say your business was already not doing well, or you were just starting a business, or all of these different scenarios, this has really thrown you for a loop. This is really, did a curveball. I know the government's been trying to help us, take care of that. But like for me, even like I can't even get on the IRS, like I can't even check what's going on with there, so my hands are tied in it as well. And so I just think that, the way that you handle the uncertainty, and just always, have something like, if I can't control this, I know what I can control. If I can't control all of these external things, I know what I can control. Right. That has helped me 100% to not be fearful, to not be angry at people that I don't know, whoever in the government,
people that you do know,
or
the people that you do know.
Yeah, it doesn't help. It doesn't help you to be angry at people, in your situation. You need to just do, what you need to do for your own situation.
So that's a perfect segue into authentic life. Heather, I've got Heather's quote up here: "Be your authentic self, and it will fall into place." It's one of my favorite words, authenticity, being authentic. Yeah. It's what I try to lean into every day because I know I'm not perfect. Yeah.
Right.
But that's that part about acknowledging anger and frustration, but don't live there. That's, I think, the most authentic choice you can make because you have to understand that it's normal.
Yeah.
But
I
that you
mean,
can't
I
live
mean,
there.
I think that we should feel those negative emotions and work through them, and then put them to rest. Or if they come back up again, then try. Like I said, I put out on my page an article about how to handle anger. And we're gonna put some other things out there, some other resources out there for you, and that's what that's our point of doing all of this is we're wanting to help not just my friends, and I enjoy that my friends join on here, and I appreciate that. And Heather, I love Heather's attitude. I know her, and she stayed. She went on the roller coaster ride, and she's persevering, and I find that so amazing and very respectful. So Heather, I
agree.
give kudos to you on that, and same to all my other friends here. I'm not just singling her out, but I knowing her personal situation, how she's persevered. It's amazing through this time. Out of anybody, she had a lot of risk factors. So I think that's great that she's got such a positive attitude, and my other friends on here too. I appreciate you guys, and Kim also. I know her situations, and you're doing the best you can do, girl. Keep on. Just work on yourself. And just stay in your control lane, and stay in your lane. That's all you can do. Stay in your lane. Unless you're a rebel like me who goes down the other lane at Walmart.
You probably went in the wrong door too, didn't you? Did you go in the wrong door?
Unless you're like me.
Did you?
So, huh?
Did you go in the wrong door also?
I did not. You're not allowed to.
Yeah, but you're a rebel. I bet you went in the wrong door and down the wrong lane.
I would have had to scooch under it and everything, and I tend to not do that.
Oh, okay.
I tend to not scooch under things. I don't do the, what is it? The oh my God.
The thing where you screw under the stick? What's that called? Mambo.
That thing.
Mambo. Mambo number 5.
And Larry's always got a positive response.
Yep.
Yep. Oh, you can't. You'll set off all the alarms. Don't ask me how I know. Oh! Heather! See, you thought I was the rebel. She can go under the limbo stick. Under the limbo stick. Do not do the limbo at Walmart. Okay, everyone? We're not encouraging that.
But if you do,
we're not.
Let us know
We
first.
want pictures.
Yeah, let us know if you do.
We want to see the security come get you. I can't wait to see that. I mean, that's what I wonder, and that's a whole nother topic. Oof, and we're out of time.
We are out of time.
1 minute. We're out of time. That's a whole nother ball game there.
I want to see
are you going to be? I'm a little rebellious. I don't know. Ooh.
You are.
Let's hope I stay out of mask jail. Whatever that's going to be.
Yeah, whatever that is. Hold on.
She's normally a rule follower, but she was feeling frisky. See, she limboed under the thing. Oh my gosh.
Limbo. Okay, I'm gonna add. Okay, can we see this? It was kind of weird. Can't see it. Neuroplasticity, also known as brain plasticity or neural plasticity, is the ability of the brain to change continuously throughout an individual's life. That's a good word.
Yeah, you like that.
We can
I
change.
knew you would like that. I read that.
Our brains can change. Our brains can change.
Yep, neuroplasticity.
Neuroplasticity.
See, my wonderful little book. See
look
here.
at that.
Yep, it shows all of it. How to renew your mind.
All right,
this
peeps.
is a great book. And it's on a Christian basis. So
switch on your brain.
Switch on your brain by Dr. Carolyn Leaf, and that can help. That can help groove out some new positive flow grooves in the brain. And we need that. And we need that in our soul, If prayer is what you go to, then that's what you need to be doing, to get over all that. And that's what I do.
Amen.
Amen.
So,
all right.
we're not gonna be on tomorrow night. On Thursday, we're taking a Thursday off, but we'll be back on Friday. So
Thursday.
You guys have a great day, and we'll see you soon.
Yeah, be authentic and smile. Mwah. Bye.
Authentic. I like that. Bye, everybody.